Back in 1999, a game by the name of Silent Hill came out, which quickly shook the horror genre to its core. This game was very special, the general tone of it being much different than others, such as Resident Evil, opting for a thrilling psychological experience that would haunt the player long after they turned the game off. Development on Silent Hill officially began in fall of 1996. After witnessing the success of Resident Evil, Konami wanted some of that horror money, so they chose 4 developers within the company struggling to fit in other projects, aka Misfits. Director and writer Keiichiro Toyama, creature and background designer Masahiro Ito, composer and sound designer Akira Yamaoka, and last but not least CGI artist and character designer Takayoshi Sato. This team would later be known as the iconic Team Silent. With a team selected, the allocated budget is estimated to have been around $3 to $5 million, which is actually quite small compared to other Konami projects such as Metal Gear Solid, which had doubled that. So this meant that the developers were most likely going to face some roadblocks, but they came up with brilliant ideas to cope with a small budget. Director Keiichiro Toyama wasn't a fan of Resident Evil's approach, a more Hollywood blockbuster style. He wanted something far more psychological, taking inspiration from Japanese horror and the literature of Stephen King's. The entire development process is quite a story, so I'll quickly go over it. Team Silent wanted the game to take place in a small American town, which players had the choice to explore, but that was a little too ambitious. Broken textures, rendering problems, and low frame rates were problems they were facing constantly. The solution? Add a ton of fog. In fact, this not only remedied a lot of the problems, it also added a unique and eerie identity to it. And I've said it before, the fog makes Silent Hill, and there should be no doubt about it. Only seeing what's right in front of you made the atmosphere more surreal, like walking into the unknown, using sound to detect the monsters. Speaking of sound design, Akira Yamaoka's work is always amazing, but the versatile dynamic soundscapes and music is on another level. These harsh industrial beats featured very unconventional objects to keep the tension up. One particular song uses a fucking dentist drill in the background. I mean, what are we even talking about? It's intricate, it's creative, it's unique, couldn't ever complain about it. The story behind the game's cutscenes is quite the story, I'll tell you that. This man dedicated his whole life to this game, sleeping in the office, working late hours, often unpaid, working with the data tech of the late 90s, which meant manually animating a cutscene took hundreds of hours to render. In Silent Hill, you play as Harry Mason, a regular guy on a road trip with his daughter Cheryl. But that trip comes to a sudden, violent stop when a figure appears in the road. Harry swerves to avoid it, causing him to crash. And when he wakes up, little Cheryl is out of there. The town of Silent Hill is buried in this thick fog, its streets empty, and its silence way too loud. Harry stumbles through the abandoned streets searching for her, but something feels wrong. The town is off, like it's watching him. And then the world shifts, twisting into something darker, something alive. Along the way, Harry meets Sybil Bennett, a police officer who's also trapped in this nightmare. Together they try to make sense of what the is going on, but Silent Hill has other plans. This isn't just about finding Cheryl anymore, this town is about to pull him into something much bigger than he could have ever imagined. Most people, when they take a look at this game, they think tank controls and fixed camera angles. And while they're not entirely wrong, Silent Hill makes the effort to innovate, making for a more compelling style. Unlike Resident Evil, which used fixed camera angles and pre-rendered backgrounds, Silent Hill went fully 3D, with a dynamic camera that constantly shifts to mess with you. It's not exactly over the shoulder, but it's not entirely fixed. Instead, it blends different styles, sometimes giving you control, sometimes locking you into a specific angle for dramatic effect, other times moving on its own to make things feel more unsettling. What makes the camera so effective is how it actually adds to the horror. The game will pull the camera back to make you feel smaller or shift to a weird angle to make you uneasy, like the low shots from a corner that give off the sentiment as if we're being stalked. To narrow in the immersion, the game will often place the camera in a specific angle, wanting you to notice an item or something very specific instead of just choosing to have button prompts. There are moments where it suddenly flips around, forcing you to walk towards something you can't see. Tight spaces make the camera even more claustrophobic. Silent Hill frames the enemies in a way that builds tension before you even realize they're there. It's all very cinematic, using camera tricks to make you scared of what's just out of view. Kinda like how horror movies build suspense. A great example of this is the alleyway nightmare in Silent Hill 1. The camera follows you at first, but then it starts tilting downwards, leading you straight to a disturbing corpse. It's such a well done shot that the director of the Silent Hill movie recreated it using a crane, just to capture the same eerie feeling. But it's not just the visuals and sound that make Silent Hill unsettling. It's also how it makes you think. Let's talk about puzzles. Silent Hill features a vast number of interesting puzzles ranging in difficulty from average Joe to Harvard dropout. Just to put it into perspective. Unlike Resident Evil, which I know, here we go again. It might sound like I'm throwing shit at this game, but I'm not. It's great, it's fucking awesome. Okay, so don't take it the wrong way. Unlike Resident Evil, which focuses on inventory-based puzzles, Silent Hill embraces psychological, symbolic, and riddle-based puzzles. The mix of poetry, mythology, and cryptic clues makes them feel more like solving a disturbing mystery rather than just unlocking doors. Now let's talk about the combat. But honestly, it's not about feeling like a hero or fighting your way through monsters. Silent Hill wants you to feel like you're just scraping by, barely holding on, using whatever you can find, whether it's a rusty pipe, a handgun with almost no bullets, or anything you can get your hands on. Every encounter feels like it's a struggle for survival. And then there's the pocket radio, one of the game's most brilliant mechanics. The radio starts going off with static whenever there's something nearby, but it doesn't tell you exactly where the danger is coming from. That simple buzzing sound becomes your constant companion in this nightmare, forcing you to stay alert at all times. It keeps you guessing. The static builds tension, disorienting you or heightening your unease. You can never fully relax because the radio could be signaling something's just around the corner. Or maybe it's nothing at all. The game officially released on February 23rd of 1999 to critical success and much praise from the fans. Through its roots to psychological with a twist of supernatural horror, atmosphere and strong storytelling, Silent Hill became a massive success, quickly becoming one of the most popular games in the market. Konami didn't sit on a bench for long, instantly starting to work on the next installment, which as we all know, was later going to become an icon of gaming.